friend, what's up? I created an epic core set tier list. It's a free-to-play set you get just by leveling up. Every 10th level, you get an epic pack. I will give you my very biased opinion, and we can go through all the way from F to S tier and see what's actually good. So we have Sentry Post, which is a backline structure, 1/2, 2 mana, deal 1 damage. Awful. Catapult. Awful. Ballista, awful. They're pretty much the same card at different mana cost. So Academy Pyromaniac is a 3 mana 1/4. So a Marshwalker, right, for comparison, is a 1 mana 1/4 with regen. This is a 3 mana 1/4 with frontline. That's how I want my frontlines. 1 attack, 4 health. Anyway, so it has ward, right? Okay, it has that. And at 9 mana, it gets +5/+5. If you play it then, that's way too late. It's way too slow, and it's really understated. There are much better frontlines. Like a Guild Enforcer at 5 mana, right? It's a 3/5 with 1 armor. That's crazy. That's much better for not much more. So next we have Chell's Priest, which is a 2 mana 2/4. Set a creature's strength to 2. So doesn't attack, doesn't do damage. It just reduces or raises attack of a creature. Not a big fan. So it got enough. So Tartesian Blood Axe is a 4 mana relic, 3 attack, and 2 durability. After you attack and kill a creature, you draw a card. So just because you're able to equip it and your opponent can't destroy it, you're not guaranteed value outside of the 3 damage. You need to actually kill the creature with your face, right? You take, right, to draw a card. So for 1 mana less, there's a core common card called Blade of Styx, which is a 3 mana 3/2, right? 3 attack, 2 durability, and it has Godblitz, right? So I can attack the other god in the face, I can attack creature, I can do whatever I want with it the turn I play it. This is 1 mana more, it's really slow, and the condition sucks. So F. Furious Wisp. Virginia, I'm sorry. So I play Nature Deck, I think it's pretty fun. You play Mistress Scythia while you have Wisp in hand, you obliterate all creatures that cost 2 or less. You play Wisp, you create an infinite loop. The combo is really hard to set up and it's not reliable. Outside of that, the Wisp just muddies up your deck. Stone Master is a 7 mana 4/5 Afterlife. Summon another Anubian from your void and give it frontline. That's not a good enough text to have a 7 mana be a 4/5. It has frontline, has Soulless, which is a downside. The Afterlife isn't great, right? Next we have Prophet of Doom, which is a 3 mana card, light, and it sets your opponent's spells in hand that cost 6 and 7. They cost 1 more, permanently. So interesting. I don't think it's good enough to run. Light has too many good 3-drops right now, so it gets a D. Blackguard is a 5 mana 3/4. Give your backlines +2/+2. So they have backline. They're not like a priority. I'm not trying to give them more health. Like for the most part, they're on the board. The backline tag is going to keep them as safe as I need them to be. So I don't want them +2/+2. I mean, I'm not willing to play a 5 mana 3/4 to maybe buff a card that I already have to have on the board. Not a big fan. Dominated Golem, 6 mana 5/6. Give +1 to your Lanteans at the end of your turn. It also is hidden, so it scales, right? If you can keep your Lanteans alive longer, it will do more damage. Seems good. The problem is it's deception, and a majority of the Lanteans are magic. So it's kind of weird. So it gets a D. Eldritch Demonologist. This used to get played a lot in control magic. It pulls the highest cost nether from your deck to your hand. So you'd play this on 4 or 5 or even on 6. And you'd pull your Demogorgon. You'd pull it on curve consistently. And so at that point it was really good. It's not played at all anymore. There are just too many high value cards to just have a 4 mana 3/3 that draws you a thing. So Tome Priest could arguably be an F. 4 mana 3/3. X, Afterlife, pull the strongest Nubian from your void to your hand. You could get some late game value if you're running like an Nubian meme deck. You could create some loops. So there's some fun things to do. It's not completely useless, but I don't think it's good. So Crystal Seer Acolyte, it is a neutral Lantean, right? Which is good because a lot of them have been put into Magic. And it's after your opponent plays a spell, this creature gets +1/+1, and it's a 1 mana 2/2. It's super easy to kill. It's going to die to pretty much every spell your opponent plays, at least removal or damage spell. It's going to die to pretty much every one drop feature. I don't think it's great. Yeah. Anyway, so a Melician Magistrate, give a friendly Anubian. Afterlife, return this to the board. It's a 3-mana 3/3, and it's an Anubian. I feel like the Anubian archetype has been set. Maybe if some cards get changed in the Mortal Judgment set, we could see this getting better or just getting more play, and so maybe I'd move it up. But right now, like, there are a lot of really, really good Anubian cards, and this isn't one of them. So it's in D. Either Vanguard, a 6-mana 4/4 that deals 2 damage on the board, right? 2 enemy creatures, damage twice, so it does 4. So Aethers are not meta right now. I don't think they're good enough. They're fun. I play them sometimes, and I don't put this in my Aether Magic deck because it is understated and fairly slow. There are a lot of really high value spells. You have Shade Blast, you have Unbound Flames. I would rather have those than an understated 6-drop, right? Like, yeah, severely understated. So Dust to Dust is not very good. It is a 4-mana spell that destroys all 2 and 3 cost creatures. So it'll kill the creatures on your side of the board as well as your opponents. With light and nature where they are, they have a lot of really good 1-drops that they can buff very quickly. So this can be played around fairly easily. I mean, for 6 mana more, or 2 mana more at 6 mana, you can play Bifurcating Curse, which is just significantly better. Then next is Tartesian Alionis, which I don't think is very good. It is a 3 mana 2/4, which not horrible stats. It's like a bad Monger Smith. With the condition, you need 2 Olympians in your void. For every 2 Olympians in your void, you get +1 strength. I don't think it's enough. Set up kind of a lot, right? If you want to play it on curve, to have 2 dead creatures in your void already that are Olympian. I'm not a fan of the card, so it gets a D. Runecaster Aros is a 4 mana 3/3. This synergizes fairly well in a Viking deck because the downside is draw 2 cards and obliterate all non-Viking cards in your hand. So as a 4 mana 3/3 in a Viking deck, you can play around the downside of having only Vikings use spells. And so it's a pretty high value card as a 4 mana 3/3 draw 2 cards. But the downside kind of keeps it from being viable outside of Vikings. Battle Bard is a 1 mana 1/2, also Viking specific. It is a Viking, and it only buffs other Viking creatures. It'll buff 1, give it +2 attack. Run it in the Viking list. They're not awful, but they're very situational, so they're C. Void Flash, I don't think it's terrible. I think Rave Disintegration is probably easier to play consistently. It's a 5, so Rave Disintegration is 5 mana. Destroy an enemy creature and deal 2 damage to both gods. So, you proc Frenzy, you kill the thing. The condition is you take 2 damage too. This Void Flash requires you to have a creature on the board, and you kill one of your creatures and your opponent's creatures. It was run kind of, I'd say, pretty like a staple card in zombie decks for a while. You're able to get your board really, really wide, right? You have Necroceptor, Cursed Obelisk, and then you could trade a zombie for higher value creature. They're both destroyed. Not really run as much. I think Rave Disintegration is the common card, and it's just easier to play, right? Like, even if you're behind and have nothing on the board, you can play it, which makes for a more reliable card. So Planetary Centurion is a 7 mana 6/7, and it has Frontline, which is good. And for every Aether in your hand, you randomly generate another Aether card. So you can get some late game value. It's not awful. I run it in my Aether Magic deck. I don't think it's any higher than a C. It could be a D. There are a lot of really good cards if you're trying to build a serious Magic deck. You could go Dionysian Drunk. It's a 3 mana 3/3. Not a bad stat. And you swap the attack and health of a single creature. You get a pretty gross combo with Umber Arrow on like a low attack, high health creature, Dionysian Drunk, and then get lethal that way or just make a good trade. Next we have Vinebound Jotun. It's 8 mana, overkill. It is a 10/12, so it has the same stat line as a Healing Elite. Does 3 damage on the board, and it also has overkill. It's C because I think Healing Elite is just better, right? It has the same stat line, but you have Frontline and Protected on the Healing Elite. And at that point in the game, dealing 3 damage to the board isn't that important at 8 mana as a Frontline with Protected, right? Parthian Recruiter is also C, could be D. It's not bad though, right? So it's a 3 mana, 3/3. When a character is healed, you summon Acolyte once a turn. So for instance, if I put this in my Control Light deck, on turn 5, I could play the Parthian Recruiter, heal my face, and I'd get 10 points worth of stats, and heal myself too, so really 12. So it's not terrible. There's just a lot of good 3-drops, right? They're just better cards. So it's a C. Maybe it'll get better someday. C, or if the meta changes or reasonable nerfs are made, it can be playable. So Void Drake is a 7 mana 7/7. Destroy each creature with 3 health or less. So Nether Stormlord is also 7 mana. It gives all creatures on the near side of the board +2 attack and reduces the health of enemy creatures by 2, which is you're able to set up favorable trades. And you don't kill your own things. I mean, obviously there's APOC, which is even better than that. But I think just the fact that you can kill your own creatures keeps this from being super viable. I guess if you're playing just like a really control death, like hard control, like and you're playing a budget version, you could run this, but I think I'd still rather take another Stormlord. So it's a C. There are better, less, yeah, they're better cards. So Tartesian Improviser is also C. It is a 1 mana 2/1. Give +2 strength to a random card in your hand. So Encumbered Looter, right, in my opinion, is a better Out of Its Misery target. You draw a card on top of drawing a card with Out of Its Misery, so it replaces itself. Leviathan Hunter is also a good substitute. You get a relic equipped, Barbed Hook, so you can set it up with Carnage Sweep, as well as being Out of Its Misery target. So this is C. There are just a lot of better options. I just don't think it's very good. Slip Blade could be lower than a C. Could be higher. 5 mana, 1 attack, 2 durability relic. It has Deadly, Flank, and God Blitz. It used to be really good. It was played as like a staple in Control Deception. It's not what it used to be. So armor, right? Just hard counter Slip Blade. And like a Stone Skin Poison is just a less expensive, safer way, right? More reliable, really, to get around a front line. So it's not played at all. I haven't seen it played competitively in close to a year, and it could be lower, but I just remember it being amazing. So we give it a C. Your Snaps used to be 3 mana, recently got nerfed. Now it is 4. That's a big deal because it no longer is reduced by Aether Fox, right? Or Form of Wisdom. When it was 3, both those cards reduce a card that costs 3 or less to 0, and you could combo with Drelmar, or you could just play the next turn in an aggro magic deck. So like that 1 mana is like a really big deal. In my opinion, it was S tier, and now it's B, maybe B. Doesn't get played a whole bunch. It could be C. Born Again, I have an E. Also could be C. I don't think it's a horrible card, right? You pull a creature from your void, you give it +5/+5 and a ward, which is like turn 6 with a pip, you can get a 7/7 Vanguard Axeman with ward, and right, blitz it in and kill something. Inescapable Duty is just a better version of that. For 3 mana, you pull a creature from your void and give it +2/+2. If you empower it to 6, you can pull 2 cards. So while you're doing the infinite control light loop, you can pull your Radiant Embalmer back out and a high value card like a Demogorgon, a Cern, Helma, right, Kaya. And then you play your 4/6 Radiant Embalmer, get Inescapable Duty back, right? They have to deal with the 4/6, and you can pull another card, or you can play it's just better. So Judge Envoy, 6 mana 6/6, set a enemy creature's strength to 0. Great, I love it. Light has a lot of really good things. So any more than a B, I don't think we can give it more than a B, right? There are too many high value cards. Yeah, so let's use setup. You can Wizard Informant or Light's Levy, right? Things that you shouldn't be able to. But beyond that, set of favorable trades, you get to B. Field Cambion, also B, 3 mana 3/3. Whenever your god takes damage, it gets +1/+1. Super easy to come out as a 3 mana 4/4, and it scales, right, pretty much every turn after that. I think you run this with Soulburn God Power, costs 1 mana, deals 1 damage to both gods. So that's good. Base Touch Golem used to be neutral. It is only magic now. It is an Atlantean, 3 mana 3/3 with ward. Give all other Atlanteans at the end of your turn ward. It's good, very, very specific. I think their Atlanteans are better than Vikings right now, so it's very specific card. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it gets a B. Atlanteans definitely aren't meta. If they ever become, it could get pretty gross. So we have Time Bomb at B also. It's a 2 mana 3/2, and it deals 2 damage to the lowest health creature, the weakest creature, right? With Afterlife. So in trade, maybe trade twice. It was run in Control Magic for a bit. It's not awful. It's just situational, and I think they're just better cards right now. So this is an Alchemist. It's a 1 mana 2/2. This used to be so good. You reduce the cost of any card in your hand by 1, right? As long as you had the mana unlocked, you could reduce by 1. Now it's different. It's reduced by 1 the mana cost of a spell in your hand that costs 3 or less. So it's a B now. It might even be a C. It's not very good. I just remember it being great. Okay, so the Sicilian Warrior, if I pronounce that right, the 2 mana 2/2. Give +1/+1 to the strongest other friendly Amazon. Give it a B. It's not bad. I mean, I don't run it in my Amazon list, so maybe it's even lower, but I mean, it's pretty much a 2 mana 3/3, right? You give +1/+1 to another creature. So it's reasonably statted, and there's a good upside. It only works in Amazon lists, and you can only run it in nature. So maybe a B is a bit generous. Probably C. I mean, I don't even run it in my Amazon list. We'll go to A. We have Whisper Baron hidden. After you summon a guild creature, it gets +1 attack. Comes down as a 3 mana 2/3, but it's permanently hidden, and every time you so it scales very quickly. I think it's A, debatably S, but I don't think so. Devouring Blade. It is a 4 mana, 4 durability, 1 attack, Godblitz Relic. Destroy a random creature. You can destroy a creature on your side, but what makes this so good is Relic War is very relevant. And if you run I Need a Weapon, you pull a random weapon from your deck and give it +1/+1. So this can come out as a 4 mana 5/2, right? Which is crazy. Yeah, so the upside is just really high. I think it's good. End times, one of the coolest. Removal spells, right, and death. It's very expensive. Games are going a bit later now with Control Light, and Drelmar kind of getting nerfed. So destroy a creature on the board, summon a 6/6 skull for 8 mana. So you not only clear the board, but you get board, right? You have a 6/6, which is really good. I made that A. River Jumper Captain is a 3 mana 2/4 base stats. For every other Amazon on the board, it gets +1 attack. It also, like, ward nature is just amazing. So that's an A, maybe an S. If Amazons ever get better, this is probably moves up to S. Oni Spellsword, I have an A also. Debatably B right now, just because card draw magic and tempo magic isn't as strong as it used to be. So Oni is a 3 mana 1/3, that's how it comes down, and every card you play after that, it gets 1 attack, as well as gives ward to the weakest friendly creature. So it wards your board, buffs itself. It will win you games. It will snowball. Pretty interesting. So Ritual Rod, 1 mana 2/2. Add 1 durability to this relic if you control a Mystic. So Vexing Vicar, turn 1. Whip out Ritual Rod is a really good way to get ahead with Zoolite. being able to deal with the board as well as grow your board is really important. So pretty strong relic. I like it. Faithbreaker is also it's a 5 mana 1/4. And anytime a god takes damage, it gets +1/+1. So you play this on 5, right? You pip out Soulburn. It comes down as a 3/6, and then every turn after that, anytime any creature attacks anything, it scales so quickly, or any god. So it can get out of hand really quickly. It's strong. It's not super meta. Could be a B. I just think the card has potential to be super gross and can win you the game. Blind Martyr is a 1 mana 0/2. When it dies, all friendly creatures get +2 health. Also think it's really strong. It used to be a 1/2, so it was nerfed. It would have been S tier. It's good. I like it. I think it's A. Red Fume Serum, a 5 mana buff, it's just a spell, a +5/+5 to a creature, and 1 burn. So the worst is just when your opponent plays Guild Enforcer, you cannot kill it, and then the very next turn they play Red Fume Serum on it, because it has armor, so it doesn't get the downside of taking the burn damage, and it's just a nightmare to deal with. I think it's a pretty strong spell. It's not run quite as much because like Creature War isn't as strong as it was. It's just OTK War right now, but it's kind of a staple in aggro decks. Toast of Peace I also think is a 5 mana, return all creatures to God's hand, the owner's hand. So play Demo, you play Jason, any good Roar card, right? And you Witherfinger, right? And you can bring it back to your hand, and you get the effect again, as well as sending your opponent's cards back to their hand, as well as just milling them, right? Or obliterating the cards on the board if their hand is already full. There's a lot of ways to use it. I think it's pretty strong. And then Warmonger Smith, probably, aside from Pyramid Warden, the best statted 2-drop in the game. It's a 2 mana 2/4, right? And it also gives your relic +1 attack for the next swing. So I think it's an amazing card. Wherever it comes back, I could see Warmonger Smith becoming a staple, moving up to S pretty easily. And then we go through S, we have Witherfinger, a 7 mana 8/6. The 3 strongest enemy creatures to sleep and give them to burn. It's so good. It's so good. I think it's the best card in the core set, in my opinion. You can have 2, which makes it crazy. It could be a legendary. Right, so I think it's good. It's Deception only, really strong. Yeah, it's a staple for sure. Wildfire, it's one of the best buff cards in the game, in my opinion. It's only 4 mana, and so you can go turn 1, play Thing, turn 2, play 2 things, and then turn 3, pip into Wildfire, and they get +1/+1 and regen 1 if they're wild, right? That's a condition, but it's really strong in nature for the most part. If you're running a wild deck, you're gonna have plenty of low-cost wild cards. Metamorphosis at 2 mana is still S tier. Used to be 1 mana, it was recently nerfed. You transform a creature, any creature you target, to 1 mana more, right? So if I have a 5 mana card, I would transform it to 6 mana, or, right? Okay, so the combo really is, turn 8, you play Healing Elite. Your opponent does not kill Healing Elite because it's very hard to kill, and then it goes back to your turn, you use Metamorphosis, and you turn it into a 9-cost card, and then you kill them. Well, first you trade or go face, and then you Metamorphosis it to 9 mana card. You can use this defensively, or you can use it offensively. It's just so good. Delve is so good. Yeah, so you delve which card it is. It used to be random, and then they buffed it to delve, and then they nerfed it to 2 mana. I still think it's amazing. Bayflame Blade is a nature staple. I think it's the best relic in the game. It is 2 mana, has 4 durability, and you do 1 damage swing, and it has Twin Strike. So you can deal with Magic Carpets, you can deal with Shadow Scryers. There are a lot of annoying things that this just eats. It will help you beat Zoolite, it helps you control the board early, and it also confuses a creature when you equip it. It has a roar effect also, which is huge late game. Yeah, there's a handful of games I would have 100% lost, but you confuse late game, their strongest creature, go kind of wide, and if it misses, it's really good. Billboarding Minotaur, also S tier in my opinion, is a 5 mana 4/5 with the Afterlife. heal your god for 3, as well as get a random wild 7-drop. So not only gives you tempo, it's a reasonably statted body, and it heals you. So good. And then lastly, we have Hunting Trap. It's a 2-mana spell, deal damage, your creature equal to the creature's strength. So this is going to deal with everything. It is like a get out of jail free card, really. Yeah, you kill Witherfingers, healing elites at 10-12, so it almost deals with it. You kill Baby Dragon if you can deal with Ward. It's just a really inexpensive, reliable removal. Anyway, so that's my list. Thank you for watching.